I want to just give a big shout out to our first patron, whose name is NB Dildo, which is exactly the kind of first patron this show deserves.
This show ought to have. Yeah, I mean, we have a Patreon up now. It's pretty sick because you get to see some secret content.
Yeah, it's kind of like our
diary.
Bobby keeps saying spicy content, but so much of it is just you and I kind of just either oscillating between pretty good, I would say, advice for creatives and just us reassuring the other that
playing therapist for one another.
You're a genius. Don't worry.
You're a genius. Thank you. And you can be a genius too
if you pay us $5 a month
for the Patreon,
or $20 a month if you want a free shirt. Was there one other thing in the $20 tier? What? Is that a Welcome to Jackass official shirt?
Beep, beep.
Are those available online? You don't need to be a patron to own one of those, do you?
No, but you can get one for free if you sign up for the Poo Cocktail Supreme tier of our Patreon. Our Patreon helps cover the costs of the Welcome to Jackass podcast that is edited and produced by Bobby McCoy of Redacted Emotions. This has been a message from our sponsor, Bobby McCoy of Redacted Emotions.
You started that sentence and it was good because it was reassuring people that we're not just pocketing this money into our pockets. This is going right into the pockets of our.
Those are our personal Patreons.
Yeah.
And those help pay for Ember Knight content, Vera Drew content, respectively, and our respective content costs.
Yeah.
Welcome to Jackass Patreon. That is for Bobby's weird streaming software, for making shirts, and for buying us Taco Bell. That's the truth. Yeah.
We don't do this to make money. We do this just so that we can hang out because it's hard for people like us to hang out if there's not a performance involved.
We are deeply ill.
My name is Vera Drew.
And my name is Ember Knight.
And welcome to Jackass.
Hi, I'm Johnny Knoxville. Welcome to Jackass.
Today on the show, we have our good friend, Ash Nerve.
Oh! Ash Nerve is a musician.
Oh, yes.
And
a DJ.
A DJ. I would say a live-action anime character in a lot of ways.
Icon.
Good-looking chap all around. Let's see what Ash. Let's see if we're ready. If we have Ash. If you want to watch it with us, if you want to watch it with us. Hop over to our Patreon. That's all I'll say, because if I get any more specific, we might get copyright shit. But we're here today with a very special guest. Please welcome to the show, musician, DJ, podcaster, all-around legend, Ash Nerve.
Hi. Thanks for having me.
Big stadium applause. Bobby, put it in. Ash, how's it going?
I'm good. It was nice to delve back into this area of culture. I mean, I haven't seen this movie in quite a long time, and it all came flooding back. It was a great experience.
What's your history with Jackass? Did you grow up with it?
I wasn't super into it. I didn't feel at the time like it was for me. I was a little intimidated by it, you know? Yeah. I remember watching it at a boy sleepover when I was like 9 years old, and like I think it was the first time I like saw a penis. Like I saw like a grown man's penis. And I remember I actually think I out loud went, "Whoa." And like no one else did. And you know, I started to get inklings there. I'm sure this is a theme you've covered many times on the show, but I've spoken to several gay people, men especially, who had a sexual awakening experience watching Jackass. It wasn't the thing for me, but it was definitely something that like now I look back and I'm like, wow, like what a beautiful piece of like homoerotic American art. So
we absolutely agree.
That's my history.
Yeah, no, I mean, we're coming from a similar perspective. I definitely am. You know, I did associate the show with jocks and douchebags because those were the people at my high school and middle school that seemed to like the show most. But I was a bit of a douchebag myself, but I was also a secret gay, and it was a good excuse to watch boys sit around and fucking. I mean, we watched a bit tonight that called Muscle Stimulator. That was all the guys just hanging out in their underwear with a muscle stimulator, which is like an electric shock thing. What do people use that for?
We saw.
But is it the practical? What's it actually used for?
That's a question that I'm not qualified to answer.
I think it is actually for like home massage. I think it is like a home massage thing, but like I'm guessing, I've never used one. I've seen it used. There's this Japanese comedy show called Documental that I love, and they do a bit also with a muscle stimulator. And I think it's like, you put it on and there's like a very low setting, and you put it on and it makes your muscles like shake. Like when you like look at someone doing it, it freaks me out. I would never use one even on a very low setting, but I assume they're putting it on a very high setting and putting it like on their gooch and dick and balls.
Yeah, so it is in fact a group of guys using home massage.
Yeah, it's just like the description. It's even gayer than I described it.
It's so much gayer than we thought it was.
Yeah, no. And
paraphernalia.
They're all in jock straps and very quickly Johnny Knox.
Like, who's gonna put it on their balls?
Yeah.
Right.
I will. Do it quick.
Right. Yeah, I was very struck by that. I was like, why couldn't what?
just you saying you were very struck by that is
yeah.
I appreciate the level of academia you're bringing to this.
And I think, I don't know, to be honest with you, I think I feel a little bit of jealousy.
Oh yeah.
Why couldn't I just have like, you just want to go back and tell your teen self, like, just fucking lean into it. Who cares?
It's funny.
Lean into it, and you would have had so much more fun.
Yeah.
Like, come on.
And people would have never known either. That's my thing watching this show is I'm just like, oh, I could have done this stuff with my friends, and nobody would have. Nobody would have flinched.
Yes, I could have had so many more foundational homoerotic experiences that I missed out on. Such is time. If there's any Zoomers listening to this, seize the day. That's all I can say.
Yeah. Don't waste those boys' sleepovers.
Yeah.
Damn, just the phrase boys' sleepovers. I was like, ooh.
Yeah, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
They're so much less fun than like, I mean, you saying that you watched this at a sleepover, I was like, yeah, it would have either been that or like wrestling, like WWF.
Right.
And I'm not talking about the World Wildlife Federation. Zoomers.
Also, I remember at a boys' sleepover watching The Matrix for the first time, and I remember the kid who was hosting the party saying to everyone, we're gonna watch this movie, and the first time you see it, you're not gonna get it.
Yes.
Okay? And I remember watching it and in my head thinking, yeah, I got it.
Yeah.
Like it was good. It was a good movie, but it was like, I got it. Anyway.
Did you have a favorite bit of the night, Ember?
Ooh, interesting question. It was also incredibly stimulating. You know what? I've seen this movie. I think this will be my third time watching it. And the Steve-O alligator tightrope has been hard for me to watch in the past. And this is the first time where I was familiar enough with the bit that I just could sit calmly, eyes wide open, and watch it. This bit is terrifying.
Yeah, it really is.
This man has never tightrope walked. He's clearly scared out of his mind. And it's just one of those really beautiful Steve-O bits where you can see him. He's the little brother of the group, and he is earning every second of camera time and every moment of respect from that team. And there's other Jackass guys where you can be like, oh, they didn't get to be a star. Maybe they were underutilized, and there's arguments there. But Steve-O, he didn't settle.
Yeah.
He risked his fucking life every moment he got to be as brutal as possible, and he earned his place as a star on the show. And I think that this bit is no exception. It's a prime example.
Yeah. No, it's like, because I mean, I think the one thing that he does right is like he starts doing the tightrope and quickly realizes like, oh, I'm not going to actually be able to do this. So he switches to hanging from it and like dangling almost like, I don't know, like an adventurer or something from like a serial from like the 1940s. And like, which is actually probably even more dangerous because your spine is now much closer to the alligators. And then they began dangling raw chicken from his ass.
Incredible. And the handler before, like the setup for this bit is great. You have Chris Pontius as Bunny the lifeguard saying that he's going to have his way with any alligators that hurt Steve-O. And then you have the actual alligator trainer being like, if Steve-O gets bit, he needs to relax and hopefully the alligator will let go of him.
That is such amazing build-up. I mean, that line passes and it's just like, the alligator expert being like, I mean, at that point, it's really up to the alligator.
Yeah.
Like, if you're doing this, it's like we just have to hope for the best. Incredible. I mean, no scary music, no build up, no anything like that, and all of a sudden, it's like pure horror cinema. Incredible. And to what you were saying, Ember, I completely agree. Like, I've always been a fan of artists who use their bodies to explore just like the limitations of like the human experience. So the people who like really give it their all
really
with their bodies. And, like, Steve-O is absolutely one of those people. He's like a great American performance artist,
Yeah, and I but earlier today I was watching a old Howard Stern interview with I'm so clearly having like a vague quarter life crisis because I'm just like in a Courtney Love world and like Stern and I host a Jackass podcast, but it was
love all those people.
It was Stern. Pontius and Steve-O promoting Wild Boys, and like Steve-O comes in and like 5 minutes into the interview puts a bunch of alcohol in his mouth, spits fire, and does a backflip and catches the studio on fire. And Stern's like, dude, it's fucking radio. Like, why did you do that? And it's just like, and he literally says, oh, I did it for you guys. And it's like, he means it.
Yeah.
And it's just so, I don't know, it's just so pure because like, I don't know, like I do think he is like he doesn't need to prove himself anymore.
No.
Like at that point, like he had already done the alligator tightrope. Like
he's already booked on the show.
Yeah, you don't need to do a flame black flip in front of him.
This man can't stop. Bobby just watched his Hot Ones interview and told me that unprompted, after he eats all of the chicken wings, he like deep throat guzzles the hot sauce and then he pours it in his eyeball. No one asked him to do that. And while he's pouring it in his eyeball, he's like, "Oh hell yeah, Jackass 4! You guys are gonna love Jackass 4."
Wow.
I don't know. I just don't. I mean, I have a lot of that in me. Like, I do have a lot to prove, and I've done a lot to prove it. But like, it is just so. I'm just in awe of him.
I like
on a spiritual level almost.
At this point, it is who he is. It's what he lives for. I don't think it's unhealthy anymore. I think it was initially maybe, but like,
oh yeah.
Now I think
he's off the drugs now.
Yeah, he's been sober for a long time.
Right.
He's clean. He's in AA. He's happy. He's married. And I think
seems a lot happier now.
Yeah. I think that he's a great American success story.
Yeah.
Speaking of great American success stories, I got to talk about Chris Pontius. You mentioned he says his line and his joke that he's definitely said like in other bits, which is if any of these alligators attack Steve-O, I'm gonna have to wrestle them and hopefully have my way with them, which is incredible. That line of logic. But again, going back to the Stern interview I watched today, maybe you told me this, but they were basically very candidly talking at the end of the interview about how Steve-O and Chris just share women.
Yeah.
And like,
whoa, really?
Yeah.
That's hot.
Yeah.
It's very hot.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know this, but I'm a big Chris. I'm very sexually attracted to Chris Pontius.
Yes, I'm aware of this.
I just didn't know if you were aware of that.
Full disclosure.
I don't know if we haven't really covered it that much on the show, and I just want to, like as Stan Lee says,
big reveal.
Everyone's comic is someone's every comic is someone's first comic, to quote Stan Lee.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Did you know that they shared women?
Yeah.
Is that in Steve-O's
Yeah,
book?
I did. I knew that when they were filming Wild Boys and with Jackass, because they were the two homeless ones initially, and they were in a bet to see who could stay homeless the longest. And
wow.
Well, Jeff Tremaine dared them to see who could stay homeless longest, and they would just like. They would find like a woman's house and stay there, and then they would both have sex with her, and then they would ask her who was better.
That's
wow.
Again,
that is so hot.
When I was a boy, where were these kind of male friendships? Because it is, and I think what like watching it, especially like on Stern, which I'm not gonna make any excuses for Howard Stern. I watch old clips constantly because I grew up with him, but I
love him.
He brings a lot of shame to sex. So seeing it in that context was almost kind of weird too, because it's just like, well, you guys are describing you may not touch tips, but it's you have a queer relationship.
Yeah.
I was just kind of blown away, and I don't know, I fell in love with both of them even more.
What did they say?
So Howard had a hottest intern contest. I bet you would not, do today. And that intern voiced that she had a crush on Steve-O. She came into the studio, and Steve-O said something like, "Well, I share women with Chris."
What's mine is his.
And
that's so cool.
Got into it a little bit, talked about, their method, and then later
their method,
their how bad they are at it.
Oh, okay.
And how it takes 10 minutes.
Takes two of them.
It takes two of them. Yeah, this is basically the vibe. Which is really kind of actually the most heterosexual thing I've heard.
It's like splitting rent on a room. Yeah.
But
neither of them can do it alone.
But this fucking bitch. I mean, I understand she was on camera. She didn't want to ruin her career.
She didn't want to fuck Chris.
And she didn't want to be shared, I guess,
okay,
by Chris and Steve-O.
Okay.
And,
missed opportunity.
It was a missed opportunity. I can only think about how grateful I would have been to be an intern in her position.
Yeah.
As someone who's both attracted to Chris Pontius and Steve-O.
Also, as someone who's not attracted to either of them, hands down, I think Chris Pontius has got to be better at sex.
There's no doubt in my mind that they are actually probably both good at sex. What do you think, Ash? And also, Ash, do you have a favorite Jackass boy that you're most sexually attracted to?
Yeah, I actually I think I like his character the most, and I also think the cutest Jackass guy is probably Johnny Knoxville. I always in any situation like that, let's say a group of talented people or whatever, I tend to gravitate toward the leader types, because I really love to see. I like how Johnny kind of pulls the strings sometimes of the interpersonal relationships and things like that. I also think he's really cute. I love his face, I love the faces he makes. He has this very devilish, mischievous look. I they all do, but his particular flavor of it I think is quite cute.
Yeah, I think you've said it before, that he almost kind of should be a leading man.
Oh yeah.
His face, he kind of does have, if you really look at him, he is of all those guys, I would say he's the most traditionally good looking.
Hollywood handsome.
Yeah, Hollywood handsome.
I'd love to just momentarily visit the reality where he got to have a Ryan Gosling career and just watch a little bit of those movies.
Yeah.
I haven't seen any of the movies that he starred in, but he has.
Yes, but they draw heavily on his Jackass shtick. Action Point is, I think, a great movie. It was the most recent one. And his acting is very touching and beautiful. It's a heartfelt movie. It's a family movie. But he also popped out an eyeball, doing his own stunts in that movie, and really hurt himself and fucked himself up.
Yeah, I'm thinking, I want to see him in Blue Valentine. or you get a notification from Deadline that what? Johnny Knoxville's gonna be in like the next Nicholas Winding Refn movie and like stuff like that.
Like, why hasn't he been in like a Terrence Malick?
Yeah, I don't know.
You know, like I bet he's really good because he's an amazing actor. His on the street stunts, like that's maybe the most.
Right.
Bobby just walked out of the room, so I can talk openly about this. But I'm very attracted to Johnny Knoxville. Oh yeah, he's gonna edit it. Damn it.
You can talk about it with him in the room too. We determined this last week.
It's weird for me.
I understand.
But now I'm embarrassed. I can't even remember what I was gonna say.
I'm so sorry.
you were talking about him like doing the man on the street stuff.
Oh yeah, that's almost like the most attractive part is like how much he like can go into a playful character. Like I want to see that on a date. I want to see somebody who can like commit that hard to something where they have that kind of shtick coming out all the time. That is fun.
Yeah.
No,
I get it. No, I get it. I mean, like that's just his like Mr. Showbiz quality too, and like he is just kind of a musical theater guy. Yeah, I think it's beautiful that you find Johnny Knox, and again, I think it's appropriate.
It's one of the most like all-American regular things about me. I think
maybe that's why I like it. Is like it's like, oh, Ember.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just like a regular, you know.
Yeah, it's not one of your weird faggy art things.
I don't know it. I feel like this show is kind of making an argument for that it is.
Yeah. No. I realized that as I was saying that. I was like, yeah, no, there's nothing
this
about
is all,
you that isn't that.
This is all an argument for why this is a weird faggy art thing. I noticed today that he has the name Madison tattooed on his chest. Who's that?
I don't know.
I noticed that too.
Who is that?
I don't know much about his his life story.
Bobby's back now. Do you know why Johnny Knoxville has Madison tattooed on his chest? Oh, it's his daughter.
Aw, that's cute.
So he's a family man too. That we got that too.
Love that. Family's so important.
He's a family guy, you could say.
Oh, lucky. Did you have a favorite bit of the night, Ash? That we haven't
something to love in all of them. Let me try to pick my favorite.
Or just something that you'd like to dive into.
Yeah. Well, I think, just like going off the Johnny Knoxville stuff, I really appreciated the opening segment of the movie, the rental car demolition derby, because conceptually it's just funny. Like you think about that. Oh, I just remembered my real answer to your question, but first I'd love to talk about the rental car one, because it's just it's so cool how he just walked in there and like, many people, myself included, most people are just so worried, we're gonna like say the wrong thing in a situation and someone's gonna be mad at us, that we're gonna like get in trouble in some way. And here's this guy who's just like, yeah, I'm not paying for this. Like, it just like completely destroys the rental car and then goes into a thing and is just like, I'm not paying for this. Like, I don't know what to tell you. Like, I'm going. And the guys are just like, okay. It was beautiful and like liberating to watch,
Yeah, he goes into a car rental place, rents a car, says we're gonna take care of her, then modifies it for a demolition derby, takes it to a demolition derby
with 2 blow-up dolls strapped into the back. Which works both ways for the character who would do this and for like the test dummies. Yeah. So it's a good joke.
Oh yeah, because like the character that does this is very open about how drunk he was.
Yeah.
was when he rented the car and destroyed it.
He just comes back he returns the car with the attitude of a person who grew up in a tiny town where like the sheriff is his mom or something, and he's just like he's just like matter of factly like, well, I'm gonna be honest with you, I was drunk, sometimes I drink, I black out, so like, yeah, you guys are gonna have to pay for that.
He says
just like dead ass.
He says, I had an accident, as you can see. and then when the guys are like, you gotta pay for it, he said, but I rented it from you fair and square.
Right.
That is the kind of confidence people like us, sad people who are constantly second guessing every little thing we say. We got to remember moments like that.
We see that and we squeal with delight.
Yes.
Definitely. Yeah, like I've honestly consciously throughout my adult life tried to get like closer to that mindset than I can. I still have a long way to go, but like I've made progress, but like, yeah, people like that who have just what I refer to as a beautiful mind. Obviously, I know he's playing a character here, but still, he's able to like inhabit that mindset. He has a beautiful mind. He's just like, this is who I am, you know. This is what I did. This is a mistake I made. It already happened. Like, I don't know what to tell you. You know, I think that's a great mindset to be able to inhabit. I think many people should aspire to that.
Incredible.
Yeah.
And not in a mean way, not in a nasty way, not in an accusatory way. His energy stayed completely neutral. He was just very humble and very honest all the way up to the end, to when he stole the blow-up dolls out of the car, walked tensely the way that my cat like walks towards my lunch, and then when they came out of the building, just bolted with both of his blow-up dolls.
And I love it because you can hear him giggling in the audio off camera, and it's just like, I don't know, it's like that to me, it's like that's the movie or the show's equivalent of like, you know, the camera getting revealed and like peeling back the curtain. It's just like, it's just a nice reminder that like nobody was actually hurt during this, and like I'm sure the car company got the rental car company got paid for the damages and stuff, and it's just nice. It's
so Knoxville's mind to go back and retrieve the blow up dolls and act like he's like escaping with them.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like
you can't take these from me.
He brought them there too. I mean, that's what's really Knoxville about it, is there's no fucking logic to the theft.
Right, but it adds this extra dimension to the character too. Yeah, he's this way in the shop, but then when he's out, he's like he's looking both ways and like makes a run for it. It's cool. It's a character that goes through a journey in a short amount of time. It's like it's really effective comedy, you know.
Ember pointed out while we were watching it, which if you want to see that astute observation, you can see that at patreon.com/welcome to Jackass.
That might be
I don't know if that's the URL, but it's flashing on the screen right now, and it's flying out of my tits.
Whoa!
And, my eyes are the URL now, Bobby.
And now my eyes are really pretty.
And now I'm just really pretty.
And and now we're sparkly.
What was I saying? Oh, Ember made a observation that when another car landed on top of the rental car, smashed through the window, and the wheel was spinning, grinding up glass, and like went all the way through the windshield. And Ember pointed out that like Johnny Knoxville's like protected by some strange mystical force, because anybody else was in that car, I think that is the moment they would have died.
It's insane.
Right. You know, a lot of those guys, you know, on the show particularly, they really do have that special aura. This is another, it's really like a mindset thing that like you have to inhabit. Like, again, it's you really just have, like, this is like such a dumb thing to say, but like you really just have to like get rid of your anxiety and you'll be fine.
Yeah.
Like people who do shit like that, people who tightrope on like above alligators, like they don't get hurt, they don't like fall in. But if you're like always like thinking like, oh my god, if I cross the street I'm gonna fucking die, then, like, there's this weird like I don't know what to say, but there is this weird like manifestation quality, and they have been, you know, in their stunts, at least on the show, they have been protected by this powerful aura, and I think that comes from their attitude.
Like,
you know?
I think it's like physiological too. Like if you have that relaxed attitude and you think that it is funny, you're not going to feel as much pain. Your body's not going to be as tense, and even if you do feel a lot of pain, you're like, the narrative is going to be one of euphoria and triumph. So you're going to be like happy and like laughing through it because you're making millions of dollars. And everybody's laughing and encouraging you.
Yeah,
and you meant to get hurt, so you did a good job.
That's what I was going to say, is it's the encouragement and the positivity around what in another situation would be considered maybe a failure, or like, you know, like, I don't know, like even like thinking, I mean, the Stern thing I watched today, like Stern's begging them to not hurt themselves and stuff while they're having this. That doesn't make for a good Jackass bit, is when people are like saying, oh, don't do that. Don't do it. You want the encouragement and the positivity of your friends. Like, no, be like, a fucking stupid asshole. You'll be fine.
Yeah.
Let the alligator bite your nipple, Johnny Knoxville.
And then when you get hurt, everybody cheers and is laughing and clapping, as opposed to being like, are you okay?
Yeah.
You know?
Right.
Yeah.
No, and that's a really good point, that like, you know, ostensibly the stunts have like a goal, like there's something you could do to get success in them, like, you know, Steve-O, to win at that stunt, he could have walked across the tightrope perfectly, you know, and not fallen in. But it's not that he's like trying to fail, but the failure is expected and celebrated, and that's like part of it. You know, it's like the stunt is made, this is like obvious, but it's fun, like fun to think about. Like the stunt is made to be impossible.
Yeah.
Failure is the expected outcome. We delight in failure.
Yeah.
We share the failure together.
Oh my God. If he had
it's
been
very,
a
it's very
good
positive.
tightrope walker, that bit would have sucked so much.
Yeah, but there would have been nothing about it
Yeah.
that would have been interesting.
Been like, oh, he walked
Right.
across the tightrope. It's the circus.
And just for the sheer
Right.
fact that at the end of the bit, you hear him talk about how, like, yeah, that was the first time. I guess I wasn't going to learn today. Like, it's just, I don't know. It's.
I will say on the subject of, both to the credit of Jackass and the way they present their reality, and on the subject of them getting hurt, when they were in the golf carts, we did see Johnny Knoxville get hurt, and we did see everybody get really concerned for a second, and it looked bad. And they were like, whoa, 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 don't touch him. And like the set medic comes over, and then they cut to a little later, and he's like, you know, drinking
He's drinking moonshine.
fucking moonshine. And it's okay, but like they let that moment of reality like ground you, and then that like brings the stakes all the way back up again.
Yeah. But that also, I mean, just to set up the bit for Nate.
For Nate Cornett. No.
They're just destroying basically a golf course and golf carts by driving around on golf carts. It looks like a lot of fun. And the last last crash, oh my God, the car just like folds over on itself. It's like hard to watch. It's really hard to watch.
Hard to watch.
Yeah, I don't know how they're like. That's again, it's just like one of those moments, like watching that. It's just like, how the fuck does Johnny Knoxville walk away from something like that?
Yeah, well, they cut out the whole part where the set medic like checks to all of his reflexes. And, and his, you know.
And he probably got mad at somebody. And
and they cut it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, God wanted them to make a good movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I don't really know how else. Like,
There's no other
how can
way.
you watch Jackass and not think that God exists? I don't know.
Literally 3 movies. That are amazing.
And an entire 6 really, and Dirty Grandpa, Bad Grandpa. Bad Grandpa. Dirty Grandpa's with Robert. If the grandpa is dirt, there's got to be some rhyme.
If the grandpa's dirt, then he really got hurt.
No, but because that's the Robert De Niro
that's the other one.
If the grandpa's bad, then if the grandpa's not bad, you'll be sad because you're watching the Robert De Niro movie.
Oh yeah.
If the grandpa's
Robert De Niro,
totally feel free
he's
to cut
no
this.
hero.
Oh God. Anyway.
All right.
Yeah, no. The universe has signed off on Jackass.
Yeah.
I think is the big takeaway.
They're
of it.
blessed. They're absolutely blessed.
Yeah, it's like I watched The Beach Bum again recently, which is one of my favorite movies, and there's a moment where Moondog says, Moondog played by Matthew McConaughey says like something to the effect of, you know, I believe that the universe has conspired to make me happy.
Yeah.
And like every time I watch that movie, like that part just really touches me. And I think that goes to show like how they were able to do so much. I'm sure that they got injured along the way, but the fact that, they all walked away from it, you know, the universe conspired to bring a good thing into the world because they knew that people needed good art, you know?
Mm-hmm.
What can I say?
Many of us needed this show, and you know, long past the time that it was on the television, it's doing good work.
No, I need it now. I mean, like I look forward to. We took a hiatus like a month ago, and I was like fucking miserable, and then we came back, and I was like, oh, it's because I didn't get to hang out with you, but also just like watching this show is just
it's vitamins.
Yeah, really is.
You know,
I think
speaking of like moments where I felt like this is for everyone, probably my favorite skit of this segment, even though it wasn't the most elaborate one by far, was actually the bowling alley one.
That's great.
Where they skateboard down the bowling alley and knock all the pins down, and then they do more takes where other people are throwing bowling balls and like hitting them in the nuts as they're it's like skateboard luging like down the bowling alley, and everyone in the bowling alley is just like, this is like the greatest thing
They're
you've ever
so
seen.
happy
Like
to see it.
I watched that and I said out loud, and I'll just repeat here. I was just like, this is for everyone.
Yeah.
Like this is one of the only pieces of art that is like for everyone.
Yeah, and
I think that's really special.
I think that's like kind of what makes me sad about like the sort of like negative mystique around the show is because like not only, I mean, we every week talk about how gay the show is and how that's why we love it, but like also like, I don't know, just like it really is for every, like I do feel like there's so many bits where like I could show, I mean, I probably couldn't show my mom, but like some other person with bad taste, like I could show a normie Jackass and they'd get it in the same way that I would, and yeah, Jackass is for everybody.
Honestly, like this is like not to get all historical, but like this is comedy. This is like is court jester shit. This is, you know,
the essence of comedy.
This is the essence that you make a fool of yourself, you clown around, you look like an idiot, you get hit on the head, and everybody else gets to like it. And like that that's what it should be. No more of this like preacher stand-up stuff. Like leave that to the religious leaders who actually have something important to say. The
they don't
stuff
either though.
Should be
normally.
Well, some of them do. I'm a pretty good pastor, but you know,
you do.
I do. He's great. But yeah, like comedy. It's self-depreciation.
Right.
Like you want to see self-depreciation? Put some chicken in your asshole. And dangle over an alligator.
Yeah,
come on.
Or if you're fucking, you know, Preston Lacey, because we watched another one tonight that was no title. It was just Preston sitting on a bench and the bench collapses, and he rips his pants. An old man with an easel walks up. It looked like he walked out of like a Mary Cassatt painting or something, and like Preston just like notices the rip on his pants, looks down at the bench, and then just runs away.
Beautiful.
So simple. I'm sure they didn't even really discuss what was going to happen in the bit.
No. They were like, your pants are already ripped, or they were like designed to rip, and the bench is going to fall. Wait for someone to walk up. And then they hold the shot, and you're like, why are they holding the shot? And then like a woman with a stroller comes through who's like still looking back.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Yeah, the essence of comedy. Actually, before I forget, I really want to shout out my sister Andy, who's been like a Jackass fan for, you know, as long as the show's been on. And like, you know, I was like mildly interested in it, and she for years has been like, no, this is like these are my favorite movies. This is my favorite like entertainment franchise. Like she's always talking about just like how wholesome it is. Like it's just really positive and inspiring. And I don't know, she really Jackass pilled me, you know, like so I got to shout her out. But yeah, she and I have had discussions about this, that it really feels just like the essence of comedy, and it's like very empowering to watch. Yeah, I mean, obviously there's people who would be offended by the visceral nature of what happens. You know, I could understand if someone wouldn't want to see injuries or wouldn't want to see nudity or whatever, but like if you can handle that visually, and even if you can't, like you're gonna like be watching this through with your fingers over your eyes, and you're gonna love it. It's like everyone likes it. I don't know what to say.
There's tons of things. I mean, there's tons of things that I can't watch on the show.
Yeah.
Still, like anything with them going down hills and little bikes and things for some reason really freaks me out. And the Johnny Knoxville getting his nipple bitten by an alligator today, I couldn't really watch.
But having there be stuff that I can't watch, that to me just like more legitimizes the show.
Yeah.
Like I don't need to, you know, like there's like the sweat cocktail in one of the later movies. Can't watch that. There's like certain ones where like I will throw up and I can't watch it. But having that there, it's like being at a restaurant that has like a $400 bottle of wine on the menu. Like it legitimizes the thing itself. I'm like, oh, that's not for me, but like this thing is so intense and so what it is that like I can like dabble in it to the extent that I want to. Woo! The green screen came down. Bobby, help! Help!
Pull out your welcome to Jackass bingo cards, everybody. The green screen fell. Because none of us
pull out your bingo cards.
We have one roll of tape in here, and it's duct tape, and for some reason it doesn't
work.
Doesn't work.
Doesn't work.
And we can't afford clamps. This is why we set up a Patreon.
Please help us buy clamps.
Well, also to what you were saying, like the fact that like everybody watches the show and like everyone has a thing that they can't handle and other people have a thing that they can't handle, like it just reminds you of like being alive.
Yeah.
You know, it's like it's
Totally.
amazing. Like we all have these things that just like viscerally disgust us, and you can't really choose it. It's like a sexual orientation or whatever. Like it's sort of like hardwired into you, and you can't really like. It's unclear why exactly that's there. I'm trying to think. Everything today we saw, I could basically handle.
Yeah.
I was really scared during the alligator one, but like I can't think of it because it's been so long. But like I know if I watched like a couple episodes or a couple movies, there would be things that I would be like I just don't even want to see it. And that's beautiful, you know.
Yeah.
Like they're pushing the limits of their experience. We're pushing the limits of our ability to handle their experiences, and it's great.
Yeah, and I've found the more I watch it, the more I get kind of like the more I viscerally react to the bits that I can't watch.
Yeah.
So in a way, the show is making me like softened me in that way too. But that's a good point. One thing we didn't discuss yet, which is kind of I'd say like a big feature of these movies is the opening in these movies is always very impressive. And this one starts with, as Ash pointed out, a pretty iconic shot of all of the guys in an oversized shopping cart, and they're rolling down a controlled what's that called? It
was the bridge, a downtown LA bridge.
But like there was like controlled
course.
Demolitions happening around them.
Yeah.
There was a giraffe.
There was a giraffe that didn't need to be there, but it was, so it did need to be there. Just a hint of the flavors that you were going to experience.
Mm-hmm.
That is actually maybe the one tonight that scares me the most.
Oh.
And shopping carts have been in the arsenal since early CKY stuff. But being in a shopping cart, have you been in a shopping cart where someone pushes you and lets go?
I don't think so.
Terrifying. It's really scary. And I think that if I had been in that cart with a bunch of friends, knowing that it was just going to crash, no one's going to catch it, it is going to crash, I would have been fucking terrified.
Yeah.
And you can see it in their faces, and they all like deal with it by punching each other. Just like
Bam hits done so many times and so hard just in the first like 30 seconds of this movie. It's fucking hilarious. You can see it in
their love for each other because like Dunn starts out by punching Bam to invite Bam to punch him back. He's like, okay, we're going, buddy. Here I am, and then Bam gets to turn around and punch him so much harder, and then again. And that's their relationship. That's their love.
Yeah. It's so cute.
Yeah, the shopping cart really, like, I think it's really stood the test of time as like the symbol of Jackass because like, you know, it's so accessible. It's like I remember friends of mine making home movies after directly inspired by Jackass, where they took shopping carts from the grocery store and they did this. And because it's like, you know, it is a suburban like you know, it's the thing you have, like you live in the suburbs, you have a huge parking lot, all you have is space, you have huge parking lots, huge grassy fields, you have these big grocery stores, and you know, you can take a cart and you have all this like this place where you can just like pull off these stunts like that. But it's still it's so exotic but so like accessible at the same time. It's something like every kid has in their backyard. And it's just, it really represents how you see them doing it and like you want to do it too. You know?
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, there's some the perspective of a giant cart and all the friends inside it. It reminds me of several months ago we watched a bit where Ryan Dunn is supposed to jump over a fucking like sewage pond basically, and they cut to a used condom on the ground. And there's something about just seeing a used condom on the ground, you know, out in a field next to like a retention pond, pointed out by a bunch of boys who are doing extreme sports. It's just like, I see that insert shot and I'm like, that's my childhood. I don't know how to describe it. But like hanging out in retention ponds, finding weird porn in the forest, or like used condoms on the ground is growing up, in a group of boys.
Like almost every other part of childhood and adolescence and sexual not discovery, but like coming of age has been exploited and romanticized like ad nauseum.
Yeah.
But they found this pocket with Jackass that just had been forgotten because everyone was like, that's stupid, that's gross, nobody wants to see that, it's not cute. And they were like, no, let's have adults do it in really extreme ways. Let's legitimize it. Let's make them stars. It's genius.
Yeah.
It's genius. And then that stupid thing that you do in your backyard with your friends that your mom tells you not to do suddenly takes on a whole, it gets a new lease.
Yeah.
Totally. Actually like that and what I was saying before just kind of reminded me I grew up in a suburban / rural area, and now I live in Los Angeles. I moved to a city where things are, a lot closer together. It's kind of harder to do things in private, even if you're singing in your apartment or whatever, it's likely that someone nearby me can hear me, even if I'm alone. But Jackass and watching this really did make me think about I don't know. I visited back home in Pennsylvania recently, and I was just blown away by just how much space there was, unsurveilled space, and how you really could do so much with a large group of people, just completely in secret. You really could discover, you really could I remember, just hanging out in construction sites, hanging out in the woods, doing acid in the very public park and having no one bother us for 8 hours, which is just unheard of.
Yeah.
And it's that mystique that is just so present in Jackass in some way. I can't quite put my finger on it, but I really feel it watching it.
Yeah.
It's all American.
Yeah.
Yes, all American.
It's honest.
Warts and all too. Yeah, it's honest, and it's not. I don't know. I think it. I don't really think the show actually does romanticize American culture, but it does really. I feel like it does really play with. It I think it shows all sides of it.
Mm-hmm. And it's wish fulfillment, in that you can watch a million movies about finding the partner of your dreams or becoming rich or becoming famous, but how many movies can you watch about your dream of destroying a rental car?
Yes. Yeah.
You
know what? I'm glad you brought that up because so I, for whatever reason, I'm super interested in Americana and visions of the American dream in art. I don't know why. I really just romanticize the spirit of America. It goes without saying, very fucked up and corrupt country, the way every country is to some extent, but ours is a very, very intense flavor of it.
Kind of
but there. A lot of my favorite art does kind of deal with that experience. I would put Twin Peaks in a similar category. I would put I'm a big fan of the movies of Paul Verhoeven. Showgirls I think is such a beautiful American myth.
Yeah.
I think Jackass squarely fits in that category too. It's the American dream. What that means is different to so many people, but I can't think of an example of it more than me pushing my friends around in shopping carts and hurting ourselves and filming it into becoming such a widely beloved and successful artistic endeavor that touches so many people. It's it really just feels raw and powerful and aspirational in that way that I feel the same thing when I watch Showgirls and I watch Nomi Malone be a BPD hoe that destroys Las Vegas, and then the end of the movie she is driving to Los Angeles and you're oh, she's gonna fuck that place up next. I feel the exact same thing, so very beautiful.
Yeah.
Just discussing the ending of that movie real quick. I've seen a lot of takes that thought that was leading into a sequel about it. But to me it's Showgirls, you would just be watching the same exact movie again, I think. Because I almost think Showgirls is set in Las Vegas so that they don't actually have to talk about it's talking about showbiz through the veil of Las Vegas. I don't want to see Nomi Malone, and I want her to fuck up Hollywood, but I don't need to see it.
Sure, yeah.
Right. the only thing I want to see about that movie is Nomi Malone just like destroying Hollywood. I want to see her energy just be. However, I mean, Verhoeven's too smart to do like a sequel like that. But there is, you may or may not know, there is a Showgirls 2.
There is.
I've seen it. It's really weird and good. It's a rare female auteur outsider film, because all these like fucking weirdo outsider guys are all like rich men who want to spend $100,000 so they can kiss a girl this year.
Right? Yeah. Isn't it true?
But yeah, Rena Riffle, who plays Penny in Showgirls, she made an unauthorized sequel called Showgirls 2: Pennies from Heaven, which is about her character Penny. I have to rewatch it. It's been so long. I don't remember it being like good as much as just like cool and interesting. And we all here love outsider art.
Sounds
so
amazing.
it was cool.
Yeah, I think I could. I mean, Showgirls is it's definitely in my top 10, if not my top 3. Like it's just one of my favorite movies of all time.
It's my favorite. It's my number 1, I think.
I believe it.
I'm really big into it.
I believe it.
Yeah.
I feel like I could assume that about you, even if you didn't tell me. I hope you take that as a compliment.
Oh, absolutely. But yeah, no, almost all my favorites, I think sort of deal with the American spirit in some way. Big Harmony Korine fan. I know that you all are too. I know producer Bobby's a big fan as well. And Spring Breakers is in my top 10, a similar parable about the light and darkness of America and the tragedy and heroism of the American spirit.
We've said on this pod how much we'd love to see Spring Breakers with Johnny Knoxville in the lead role.
Wow.
Yeah. That's the only note I have about Spring Breakers now, is just it should have been Johnny Knoxville or Jason.
Wow, that's so spot on. That's so spot on. Yeah, nowadays, like at the time, the James Franco casting seemed to make a lot of sense because we were still, he was like trying to be the like, oh, I'm an outsider. I'm a creative outsider in Hollywood. But now looking back, that casting seems like very played out.
Yeah.
But like at the time, it made sense. But yeah, no, Johnny Knoxville as the lead in Spring Breakers would have been
amazing.
As Alien would have been.
But thinking, I mean, because you saw Moondog, the movie. What's his name? With Moondog.
Matthew McConaughey.
Yeah. What's the movie called? Beach Bum.
Oh, Beach
You
Bum,
saw
yeah.
Beach Bum. Yeah.
A lot of people hated that, presumably because it's like about kind of like just like a lazy piece of shit who just has like everything going for him. But like,
yes,
that's kind of what the movie's about, right?
That's the point. Beach Bum is I've never laughed more at a movie. I'm not gonna like go here and say like, oh, it's the best comedy of all time. I'm not. I just personally, I saw it in theaters. I have never laughed more in theaters than watching Beach Bum.
I saw it with the wrong people because I didn't have a good time, but
I
think that it was just like, it was the wrong group.
Yeah.
I should revisit it.
I think you should.
Yeah, totally.
I think you should.
I'll watch it with you anytime.
Okay.
It's so, because it's
Anytime.
like so, I don't know, like watching it, because like I love Harmony Korine so much, and like as the movie began, I was like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah.
This is just so confusing. Right. But then eventually I feel it clicked into this rhythm for me where I was just like, no, this is just about like everything going on right now.
Yeah.
Right.
And
right. He's so good at capture it. He always captures the zeitgeist in such an unexpected way. Like Spring Breakers, when it came out in like 2013, I was like, this is 2013 history.
Yeah.
Like you could show this in a history class in like 2058 and be like, you kids want to know what the year 2013, 2014 was like? Just watch this movie. You'll get it. Beach Bum, in a way, it was just so funny. Yeah, from him, it was like, I'm just gonna do a straight up like stoner comedy where there's just no conflict in it. Like, do you just want to watch no conflict for like an hour and a half, just all happy, like nothing goes wrong? It's just like, great. I made this movie for you. It's called The Beach Bum. It's somehow Harmony Korine and Jackass are like, there's a spiritual connection between them.
Yeah,
definitely.
Some sort of like skate culture.
Yeah.
Skate culture. That's got to be it.
Yeah, it is.
Which I never really participated in skate culture much at all. I've always appreciated it. It's like, it's a culture that's really, really like there's great feats of like performance and stunts and like dexterity, but it's also very like aesthetically driven. Like a lot of people in skate culture really have like a good concept of like how they want to present their image. Like fashion is such a huge part of it. Filmography is such a huge part of it. I mean, Spike Jonze, Jackass, like his career was launched through like skate cinematography, if I'm not mistaken. It's a really cool culture, you know?
Yeah, and there is, like the humor is like stakes based.
Yeah.
And I would say that I would say that skate and DIY music have a lot of overlap. Yeah. And when I was like in DIY music, I was also in like DIY comedy. Those two have zero overlap. They do. I mean, LA really tried to fuse them together in some weird shows, and it'll be interesting to see if that comes back after the pandemic. Yeah. But really, these two things don't really work together, and like the humor of comedy is so like, I don't know, it's like its own culture, like stand up and all of that is its own like very kind of detached like
it doesn't make sense.
It's its own logic. It's
But it's weird. But that's weird to me just because I don't know, like I guess I just came up like, coming up in Chicago, like the comedy scene wasn't as like segregated from like the rest of culture as much. Maybe it's just because like that's kind of the only culture Chicago has besides like baseball. But yeah, it doesn't really make sense. It doesn't really track.
But my point is that like,
sorry,
no, you're good. Just that like, what I would say to my music friends to be funny, like the way that I would joke with them was so much more rooted in like, getting hurt or things that are like immediate or things that are like very universal feeling based, like stoner kind of, like stuff that's in the room or more stakes driven. And that is more like connected to Jackass, connected to getting hurt, kind of real world, like not so like narrative cerebral. And if I had said like a comedy world joke to my music friends, would have been very awkward and like landed in a very awkward way, I think.
Huh.
And I guess my point with that is just like Jackass
is the only good comedy.
It's the only good comedy, and it's because it's related to getting hurt at that, and that I think like bled into that is, skate culture is about getting hurt and respecting each other for getting hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, totally.
But that is kind of what all art should be.
Yeah.
And really it just, I don't know, there shouldn't be, I don't know, like I feel like I grew up like hearing about like, like the Luna Lounge and like, musicians and comedians hanging out together and stuff like that, or like even like, Easy Riders, Raging Bulls, like Bob Dylan hanging out with Dennis Hopper and like everybody doing acid together and stuff. And it's just like my experience has been like everything is so like compartmentalized in these like, no, I do this. Even inside the comedy scene, inside the DIY comedy scene, there's people who I do stand up, I do this, I do that, and it's like why? I feel like Jackass is like the integration of all of that. It's not only like the purest form of like what you're describing, but it's also just like, I don't know, like it doesn't force itself into this box of like telling you what it's supposed to be, which is like kind of what all of culture is now.
Yeah,
totally. I'm just like now thinking back to my like adolescence as an artist in Allentown, Pennsylvania, and I was just thinking back to like I was like the only one making electronic pop music and like singing karaoke at shows. So the gigs would be like I would be like in the middle of like 4 like hardcore bands, and it would be like there'd be like 2 hardcore bands, like me like singing a cute little songs and then 2 more, and it was great. Like everyone, it was so much fun, like I mean I definitely like I like being here and I like being around like so many people who do this stuff, but there was something, and I think like seeing Jackass is kind of like triggering all this for me of just thinking about like just like the raw essence of DIY and just like being yourself. And it's like, oh yeah, we don't have to have these boundaries between genre or between like discipline or whatever. Like why does a gig like that was just like done out of necessity in my hometown because just we were all together and that was what we did? And it's like that just seems really, looking back on it now, that seems really special and like not weird at all,
Oh, it's awesome.
Yeah, no, that does sound just very special. Like,
it was fun. Yeah, I look back at it now and I'm like, yeah, again, it's just the thing. Yeah, in your town, you do what you do at the time. Yeah, I love LA, but we're all trying to be professionals and stuff, or we are professionals, and it's like, yeah, some of that DIY magic can sometimes be taken away. There is something about small town just scenes out of total necessity that is really magical,
Yeah, and I mean, I don't know. I think I speak for everybody in this room too. Like, I don't know. The further I move away from like what's quote unquote like professional and like supposed to get me more clicks and stuff, the more I actually get attention for what I'm doing. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just it kind of goes back to that whole idea too of just like going into a stunt expecting success, or like with the confidence that like God's gonna shield you when that wheel breaks through your windshield. It's just like,
right.
It's just all about authenticity at the end of the day. And I think that's why we do this show too. Is just like authenticity.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's one. Speaking of authenticity, there's one. I would just be remiss if I didn't mention the final bit we haven't discussed, which is Party Boy Japan, which stars. I mean, everybody's familiar with this bit, but I'll describe it. It's Chris Pontius, the most attractive star of Jackass. He's wearing a tracksuit. He goes into a stereo store in Japan. He starts playing some techno music, testing out the speakers. The guy's showing
the premise being that he's going to maybe buy a stereo.
Yeah. It's also, thinking about that as a character is really funny, because like seeing this guy walk in clearly like a breakaway tracksuit, like testing a stereo, like I don't know, there's just, you're always talking about how lazy my man is in these bits and like and non-committal or whatever, but like, you blow
that way out of proportion.
Well, I'm hypersensitive about it, and I should let it go because you are the one that brought us together with that cameo video. You've allowed.
I respect the boundaries of your relationship.
And I appreciate that, and I need to fucking chill out.
Unlike Chris Pontius does with this nice Japanese gentleman.
He strips and just starts dancing, and the guy is actively trying to get away from him, and he just keeps dancing, and there's a little bit of a tango.
But but the guy is almost laughing. Like, only Chris Pontius can do these things. Anybody else, it would be like harassment. You'd look at it, you'd go, ooh. But somehow Chris, he's so silly.
It's the skip. It's the skip away. It's the little dance and skipping that he does. It's, immediately that he's a harmless little bunny boy.
It's like when someone's walking like a big golden retriever, and the golden retriever comes up to lick your face, and you're like, it's fine. And they're like, get down. And you're like, it's fine.
You're right. There's something about him, either just his personality or his body language or whatever. I don't know how he does it, but it's like, even though he's like clowning on you, he's still like involving you in some way. He's kind of like, he's not just trying to like make he's making himself look silly. You know what I mean? Like, he's not trying to like, it really embarrassed like the people he's doing it to. You get that vibe. Like they're part of the joke. They're not like the subject of the joke.
No, yeah. The idea is that the guy loves the speaker system so much, and he's so excited about partying with the speaker system that he needs to party right then and there. So he'll strip off his clothes. That's the joke of it. Yeah. It's like. Yeah.
But his presence as a performer and the way that he makes eye contact, like, I'm never worried that he's going to hurt somebody or do anything harmful. And I think that the people he does it to are also just at worst annoyed.
Yeah.
I don't think that they're ever actually concerned. They're just like, okay.
Yeah, they're laughing, clearly. They're trying to like, there's a part of them that's like, I know that the right situation to do is like to kick this guy out of the store or what, you know what I mean? But they're laughing. Like, even that like cop that very like half-heartedly tries to like pull him away from the situation and like toots his whistle, like it like doesn't do anything. It's funny. We can all agree.
Some people can do some things that other people can't. Like, there is an art to performance, and there's like not the same rules for everyone.
Yeah.
I've been thinking a lot about that part in the movie Super Troopers Where
I've never seen that.
You've never seen Super Troopers?
No.
Ash,
Me neither.
Are you serious? Then never mind.
Never seen it.
This doesn't.
I do this to you all the time.
It's a really silly cop movie. It's the only good cop movie, and it's because the shtick between them is so cute. And these two, it's like in a small town, and these two cops like to do a thing where when they pull someone over, they see how many times they can sneak the word meow into talking to the person. And they'll say, now I'm going to need to see your license and registration, right? Meow. And the guy will be like, did you just say meow? And he said, no, I did not say meow, like a cat, no. And they'll just see how many times they can say it. And later in the movie, another character is like, oh, I want to play that game where you guys try to call a guy a pussy. And they're like, that's not the game. And he's like, give me $50 and I'll call him a chicken fucker. And like the difference between those two attitudes to me is like very much like many people should not go strip their clothes off and dance around in front of an employee. That's calling someone a chicken fucker. But Chris Pontius is playing meow.
I like that.
Wow, yeah.
No, that's the show as a whole. There's a lot of people that should not be making Jackass.
No.
And that try to.
And have tried, yeah.
Yeah.
And it shows.
Right. I did want to chill for my new favorite comedy show, which I mentioned earlier. It's called Documental. It's a pretty famous like Japanese comedy show. I only just became aware of it, but it's been going on since like 2013 or something. But just thinking of the intersection of like Japan and Jackass, like Documental's like definitely in that zone. Very simple premise, which is like 10 famous comedians locked in a room for 6 hours. You laugh, you lose. If you make someone laugh, you get kicked out. Also, each comedian has to bet $10,000. So the winner gets like $100,000, the equivalent of $100,000 American, but each person has to bid $10,000. So the stakes are very high.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of like Jackass stuff. It's also about like boiling comedy down to its essence. Like in this zone where people are locked in for hours, it tends to be, everyone has their own different style, but people are like putting eggs in their ass and like doing stuff like that. Like it comedy just goes into this very like primal state in that environment that they've curated, and I just can't get enough of it. And any Jackass fan, I highly recommend you check out Documental. The first couple seasons are on Amazon Prime. The first couple seasons, if you want to get the rest, you have to like find fan subs online, but I do. It's very worth it.
Wow.
Julian, my podcast co-host Julian, got me into it, and I can't get enough. I think everyone would love it if they like Jackass.
It's incredible.
Yeah, you've told me about it. It sounds like something I would really enjoy. I just keep watching, and I find this with music too. I like watch and listen to the same 4 things over and over again. Is that that's normal, right? Like it's not like.
I think that we are so bombarded by things that we don't want, like as much as like the algorithm is supposed to be good or whatever, like you go onto Netflix and you're like, this is all shit. Yes. I'm just gonna watch a movie I already know.
Yeah,
because you can't go like into Blockbuster and find a cover that you find intriguing and rent that thing, because you're just flooded with shit. So I end up, if I explore new music, I hate to say it, it's from the playlists that Spotify made for me.
Yeah. And
often I'm like, no, like maybe I find some stuff, but mostly I'm just going back to stuff I already know, and I hate that.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, well, that's the thing. Too many options. The fact that every option is available, and unfortunately, like the worst tastemakers on earth are the ones that money has put in charge of like curating it for us. I think that like the natural human response to that is like, I will literally listen to just one song on repeat for like 2 or 3 whole days. I'll just like only listen to one song. But every so often, I really rely on people I know and trust to show me something. Every so often, a new fucking thing. Like Julian showed me Documental, and it's like my whole new world. Now I had my 4 things. Now I have 5 things. It's crazy. It's crazy when a piece of art like does that to you.
Yeah.
So love that. So it was nice to like I had even something like Jackass. I know I love it. It's been so long. I would need good trusted friends to like sit down and be like, no, watch this right now. This is worth it. We're gonna have a good time. Sure enough, I did. You know, very beautiful.
No, I mean, I feel like you were doing that. I feel like the lead up to us finally doing this we were talking about doing this podcast.
Yeah.
For about like 6 months of our friendship before doing it. And a lot of it was literally, I mean, I'm not going to take full credit for the delay in us finally doing it, but I do think a lot of it was just because I was like, I don't know if I can work Jackass into the rotation of how often I watch Twin Peaks and Batman bullshit. Or just fucking the same fucking Star Wars movie that I've literally seen 150 times at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I listen to one band. I make music. I listen to my friends' music. I listen to exactly one band.
Which band?
Is the Japanese pop group BIS, BIS. Everyone check them out online. Stream BIS. Love them. They're my favorite girls of all time. I only listen to them. I don't need anything else. Like, what can I say? I've been through, we've all been 18, doing LSD, watching The Holy Mountain or whatever. And we're like, that you got that phase and you come out the other side of it and you're like, listen, I found my band. All right, I'm gonna listen to them. It's gonna be great.
That makes sense to me.
I'm kind of excited though because I'm kind of in my cool drug phase now. Like I had my dark drug phase, like when I was supposed to have my cool drug phase, but now I'm having my cool drug phase. So maybe I will do acid and discover my own, documental.
Right.
My own maybe start my own Welcome to Jackass.
This is yours.
Oh yeah. I don't know why. I don't know why I took it this way. Yeah, it's half mine.
But you can also.
Well, it's a third mine.
You can have as much as you want in this world.
I only want a third.
Okay.
Of this world. Ash, where can people find you? And what would you like? How would you like people to find you? Do you have anything to plug?
Yeah, I would love to plug. I work on a couple things. My most regular project is my podcast, Boys Bible Study, which we monitor and analyze and review Christian cinema. It's myself and my good friends Scott and Julian. I'm very passionate about Christian movies. It's like most of what I watch nowadays. Check out boysbiblestudy.com. You can listen to all our free episodes there. Also, I would enjoy if anyone who followed me at Ashnerve on Twitter and Instagram. I also make music and I edit other people's podcasts and I do a lot. I would love if anyone followed me and checked out the stuff I posted. So thank you.
You are one of my favorite artists who ever, not only currently alive, but who ever lived. So you got the Vera Drew stamp of approval. Bobby, make a graphic for this because I'm gonna
cry in front of a Family Guy backdrop.
that was the goal of this show.
Thank you. I'm truly honored. Thank you.
And then Bobby, make it so that we both become Peter Griffin.
Please don't do that. That will give me gender dysphoria.
Okay, just me.
Make me Meg.
That's your pick?
I don't know. I just knew that was one of the Griffins that was a girl.
Oh, yeah. Make Vera Meg. Well, everybody thinks Lois is the hot one.
Lois. That was pretty good.
Lois.
That was pretty good.
Do yours.
Do yours, yeah.
Peter. It's not that good. Not that good.
Well, thank you for coming on. Thank you for coming on our Christian Jackass show.
Thank you so much. Yeah, we didn't even really get to talk about God a ton, but I know that we're all coming to it from this.
We had a little.
We're Christian Jackass fans. I think that's beautiful. So thank you.
No, this was nice because usually, this show really is about us converting all of our guests to Christianity, and this was kind of a week off for us.
Yeah.
Yeah, we didn't have to work with you. You were already. You're already in.
Yeah. Well, thanks again. I had a lot of fun.
Really though.
Love you, Ash. Thank you.
Love you too.
See you soon.
Bye.
Goodbye to you.